Islam Makhachev is in the conversation for being one of the greatest fighters to ever live. He cleaned out the lightweight division, went up another weight class, and beat up the big dogs with Jack Maddalena and Ian Gary. And when Islam beat Ian Gary, I had a lot of concerns for him. Because we saw in that fight, Islam struggled a lot to even grapple and move Ian Gary around. Simply because Ian Gary is the bigger, taller guy, but also he can defend takedowns really well. Looking at the Ian Gary fight, I heavily underestimated Ian Gary's takedown defense and size. You could just kind of tell throughout the whole fight, Islam was struggling and putting a lot more willpower and strength into taking down Ian Gary. Even though people criticize Islam Makhachev's performance for being too boring, which doesn't make sense for me in my opinion, considering the fact that I feel like Ian Gary's game plan should have been throwing more combinations and pressuring Islam Makhachev. And if Ian Gary stuck to that game plan instead of just standing around and throwing one or two kicks to the body and up top, I felt like we would have had a better, more entertaining fight. So instead of people trying to put the blame on Islam Makhachev, why can't you just put the blame on Ian Gary? I feel like if Ian Gary just threw more combinations, did the things that he did against, Carlos Prates, for example, or Bilal Muhammad, we would have had an entertaining fight. But yet again, the GOAT, Islam Makhachev, always has to carry the weight on his shoulders because that's what GOATs go through, just like John Jones. But either way, people are going to criticize Islam Makhachev whether he knocks out his opponent or doesn't knock out his opponent or goes through a decision victory or whatever. People are just not going to be satisfied. And usually when people want to criticize you, even though you're a great fighter, that probably means you're a great fighter, if that makes sense. But after Islam had his dominant performance against Ian Gary, he said that he has 3 fights left in his career, which is Prates, Morales, and Shavkat. And honestly, I don't even know why people even have Shavkat in the conversation, considering the fact that his knee is literally like imploded. It's like cooked. And he's going through some family issues right now, so I don't even know if we're ever going to see Shavkat fight. He's for sure going to be one of those fighters that could have been champion, but he just didn't, because of life and, I don't know, health issues. But let's just say, best case scenario, he does have 3 fights. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Islam has 3 fights. He's 34 years old. He has like an average fighting activity between 7-8 months? So you're telling me by the time Islam fights Carlos Prates, he's going to be 35 years old. And by the time he fights Morales, by the time he fights Shavkat, and I don't even know if Shavkat's going to come back, he's going to be 37 years old. So considering the fact that Islam's about to be 35 years old and he's not that active all the time, this raises a lot of concern for me. Is Islam really going to keep his promise and fight all of these 3 young, hungry, big welterweights? Because the most important thing here, right, is not just about the age, which is the huge part of it. That's the huge issue. But it's also the fact that Islam is going to have to rely on his strength, on his wrestling a lot in these fights. And when we look at someone like Prates, I feel like he beats Prates fairly easily, because I just think that Prates is the type of guy to where, yeah, he's the exciting fighter, yeah, he has the knockout power, yeah, he has good personality, but I don't think he's going to be able to adjust to Islam's wrestling. Because you saw it in the Ian Gary fight. Ian Gary was moving around, he was actually wrestling, grappling Carlos Prates, and Carlos Prates fumbled under the spotlight. He couldn't do anything against Ian Gary, even though Carlos Prates is his knockout machine. But even though I do think that Islam beats Carlos Prates fairly easy, I think that's probably his easiest fight other than Jack Maddalena. He still has to take these guys down at the end of the day. He still has to use his strength. So even though I'm sitting here and telling myself that, yeah, the Carlos Prates fight could be easy, because I feel like Carlos Prates doesn't really adjust to certain styles, Islam's going to be the one getting in there, not me. So I know he's going to struggle with Carlos Prates. So he's going to be probably 35 years old by the time he fights him. And even, like I said, even though Islam Makhachev says that he wants to fight before Ramadan, he wants to fight December or January, I don't even know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's realistic for Islam to do. But let's just say he fights January or December like he said, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't really like to believe word of mouth all the time. When he fights Morales, we already know Morales is going to adjust to Islam's wrestling style. We've seen that whenever he fought Sean Brady. Sean Brady was like the jiu-jitsu grappler guy, and Morales, he adjusted to a certain style in that fight. And by the time he fights Morales, he's going to be 37. And don't get me started with Shavkat Rakhmonov, because he has all the tools. He could kick you, he could strike with you, he could grapple with you. And I could see that being kind of like a Merab Peter Yan fight, where like Yan is the one that's like out grappling, being the better, more well-rounded fighter in that fight. And he's gonna be like 38 when he fights Shavkat. But like I said, I don't even know if Shavkat's gonna come back, because like I think his career is cooked. And the reason why I said earlier I don't really like to believe word of mouth sometimes is because, right, Islam said that he wants to fight Pratis, Morales, Shavkat, correct? And he did say that he wants to be more active because he's getting older. But this situation is reminding me a lot like Alexander Usyk, the greatest heavyweight boxer ever. I'm getting flashbacks by this because Alexander Usyk kind of had this same kind of formula like Islam is doing right now. Usyk had a list. He knew that Father Time was catching up with him. He knew he was getting older and had the same exact mentality. Like, so you're telling me Usyk wanted to fight the winner of Wardley Dubois, fight Tyson Fury, then fight Deontay Wilder? And I'm thinking to myself, by the time he fights all of these three fighters, he's gonna be like 40 because he's so like, because he only fights like one time a year. Same thing with Islam Makhachev. And guess what happened? He fought Rico, and after that outcome of that fight, Usyk decided that he wanted to retire but have one more fight left.
I say it's bronze bomber.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder. Yeah.
And this is before the Rico announcement, so his opinion changed. He did say he wanted to fight Deontay Wilder, but when he was preparing to fight Rico Verhoeven, he did say that he wanted a different fighter instead. So he changes his mind throughout this whole time period. So whenever Usyk was preparing to fight Rico, he said he had 3 more fights he wanted to aim for.
Listen, Rico. This is
Rico.
First. Second, it's a who win.
Wardley Dubois.
Wardley or Dubois?
Wardley Dubois.
You can't see Dubois again,
Yeah,
though.
And then Tyson Fury.
Third fight, it's my friend Greedy Belly Tyson Fury.
So he did say he had 3 fights, and he constantly said this, right? He constantly said this in interviews where he had 3 fights. He wanted the winner of Wardley Dubois, he wanted Tyson Fury, and he wanted the fight with Rico, which he just said right now. And kind of going back to my statement about how I don't always believe word of mouth, because we just saw it with Alexander Usyk. He wanted the 3 fights. He didn't get the 3 fights after the performance with Rico because he realized he was getting older. And it's the same thing with Islam. Islam said that he wanted 3 more fights. But in the same press conference, he says that I wanted to fight in January or July or in the summer and fight Ilia Topuria. They had a good offer for him, but the fight didn't fall through for whatever reason. So whenever you hear Islam say, I have 3 more fights, I want to be more active because I'm getting older, I don't really believe it automatically, because he said he wanted to fight Ilia Topuria, but the fight didn't happen. There was a good offer on the table. Tell Ali Al-Abdelaziz, the manager, like, the fight didn't happen. I never deny a fight. But still, the fight didn't happen. He said he wanted to fight Ilia, but the fight didn't happen. So what makes us think that Islam is not going to fight these 3 fights that he says he wants to do? Islam said on Twitter, I'm tired of hearing made up stories from Pretoria and his team. I got the call and accepted the fight at the White House. The next day I was told he asked for an unrealistic purse. The UFC declined and he pulled out. That's it. Nothing more to it. Even his manager confirmed it. So Islam said he wanted to fight in the White House, but it just didn't happen. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, he fights Pratis. It's going to be probably a really tough decision, a really tough fight to even hold him and get him to the ground. But let's just say he fights Morales. And Morales is the one that I'm more worried about than Pratis, because like I said, I feel like Morales is going to adjust more to the wrestling. He's going to give Islam a more difficult time trying to take him down. Not because the sheer size that a lot of people are saying. I don't think the size is going to be the issue. I mean, it is going to be an issue to take him down, but I feel like Ian Gary is kind of the bigger, stronger guy. The issue that I have with Morales is the fact that he's willing to adjust to whatever style's in front of him. So if he's going to face a wrestler, he's going to have a certain stance. He's going to fight a certain way to try to not get taken down by Islam. Whatever happens in that fight with him and Morales, Islam's going to be like 37, 36 years old, and he probably had to use a lot of energy and willpower, just like the Ian Gary fight, to even take down Morales. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about Shavkat right now because I don't even think he's ever gonna fight. Islam is going down a path that is a little risky because the only thing that can beat Islam is time. And with Alexander Usyk, for example, despite him being like a very great fighter, he knew that even though he wanted these 3 fights that he wanted, time was gonna catch up to him. Activity was gonna catch up to him. The dude only fights like 1 time a year, and he's like, what, like 35, 36 years old? And by the time he fights all those fighters, he's gonna be like 40. It's the same thing with Islam Makhachev. I'm smelling a lot of bologna sandwich over here, and I don't like it. So all I'm asking is Islam gonna keep his promise? And I don't think so. I think he's probably gonna fight Prates, maybe push the Morales fight, and whatever happens in the Morales fight, I think he's done for. I think he's gonna retire, and I think that's okay. And you already know people are gonna run with this narrative that, oh, he ducked Shavkat, oh, this and that. But that's how it is in life. You could be the most perfect human being ever, and people are gonna judge you and find a way to hate on you one way or another. I think that if Islam beats Prates and Morales, he's arguably top 3 greatest fighters of all time. I don't know if he's number 1. I don't know if he could dethrone my king, John Jones, but you can make a strong argument that Islam is the GOAT, is one of the GOATs. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Islam is gonna keep his promise and have these 3 fights? Or is he just gonna fight Prates and maybe Morales and call it a day? And would you hate on it? Would you be a D1 hater? I don't think so. I think I would be satisfied if Islam retired with 2 more welterweights under his banner. That's all for today. See you later.